Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. Today, we are discussing an extravagant 2009 model year limited edition of 150 pieces in rose gold and titanium. This is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor Extreme Tourbillon. It has a date, a GMT, a tourbillon. It's 100 meters water resistant. It has quick release lugs, and it is a shock resistant limited edition. It is full of features. So now the watch is large at 46.4 millimeters in diameter. It is also 16.5 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 55 millimeters with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. The watch wears easily on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, but I will say this, proportionally it is too large. While it sits secure and it would fit just fine, and I've worn this size JLC watch in the past, I do recommend you have a wrist of at least 17 centimeters circumference if you don't want to have the appearance of lug overlap, that is the lugs going beyond the edge of the wrist, and this watch is right on the limit here. I think you need a bigger wrist to wear it. So if you're a big man and you want a large watch, this is the perfect match for you. If you want a smaller JLC, you'll find other options. Now, the strap is a remarkably opulent piece. As you can see, it uses textile, double contrasting stitch, calf skin. It's very thick cut. There's a suede material on the bottom, and we have a double deployant clasp to protect against dropping this large and expensive watch when you don it or removing at bedside. So it's nice to have that full clasp so that the strap will loop and it will be hard to accidentally drop the watch as you deploy the clasp. Now we have this conforming end profile, and I should mention JLC offers rubber straps that work with this watch, so you can order those as accessories and take this watch in the water without a care. And both straps in rubber and leather conform to the curvature of the case as well as the slope of the lug. But here's the brilliance of this design. Now there's a little push button system underneath that unlocks the lug. You see how that works? It uses any standard 22 millimeter sized strap. So you don't need to use some sort of proprietary factory built strap to customize this watch or change the look. Any 22 millimeter strap will fit. So unlike Hublot, Cartier, IWC, and many others who force you into a proprietary strap system of some kind, here you can use any 22 millimeter strap. Now I'm going to show you a little bit more of the case here because I want you to see that it's made of two metals. The inner cage, which holds the movement in the dial, is titanium. The outer case, which is sort of a frame or a chassis, it is rose gold. It has polished accents on the bezel and the lugs, and it has satin primary surfaces. But the reason there are two cases is because one is built atop springs and set within the other. And when these Master Compressor Extremes launched in the mid-2000s, JLC had a sort of carnival setup where you could drive golf balls or you could play the hammer game at a sort of carnival-like setup and try to ring a bell by swinging a hammer while wearing these watches. And I'm not sure I would take those kind of drastic measures to test the watch, but the fact that these were able to survive that kind of trauma in testing proves that they are very, very tough and probably more resilient, frankly, than a lot of Richard Mille watches advertising hardcore sports watch credentials, because most Richard Mille watches are 30 and 50 meters water resistant, and this one is 100. Now you have a compressor crown system that changes from white when it's tight and locked to black when it's unlocked. This is 1/2 turn, and now the watch is locked. 1/2 turn, now you can set it, you can wind it, and that gives you 100 meters of water resistance just like that. This is a patented system, very easy to use, color-coded for safety so you don't accidentally swim with the thing unlocked. And then, of course, it's easy to grip when your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved. The crown itself is coated in a polymer. Now, on the dial, we have a silver, maybe I would call it silver gray or nickel anthracite, somewhere between gray and black, but it's a sunburst metallic that radiates out from the center. And there are two different versions of this watch. In fact, there are three. There's one called the Biblos, which is a black dial that has yellow accents, and that's in a platinum titanium hybrid case. And then there's another version of this that has a 30-piece run, and that has sort of a tobacco brown metallic dial. So if you see that, that's the 30-piece. This is the 150-piece run. The dial includes applique indices as well as numerals, and then we have trapeze-style hands for the hours and minutes. There is a little chaptering outboard that is gloss finished, and it bears the legend for the date. So you have this radial date indicator, and then you have a 24-hour hand. So that's your second time zone. Plus, of course, you've got the tourbillon. Now I'm going to unlock this system and show you how you set the watch. Now you can see how I'm able to change the hour hand, but it's not affecting the minutes, and it's not affecting the 24-hour display, so I'm changing my local time. Now you can see that that radial date is driven by that local time hand, and there is a gearing internally that prevents the date indicator from blocking your view of the tourbillon. So during the transition from the night of the 15th through the 16th, you see how the watch will make a rapid jump across the tourbillon aperture so it doesn't block your view. Now if you want to set everything in sync, you just pull the crown out to its outermost position, and now I can set that 24-hour hand. And what you do is you set the GMT, and then you go to that intermediate position and you set your local time and your date. That's how that works. I can also show you, let me get the minute hand out of the way there so we can talk about the tourbillon. Let me show you the loom shot. As you can see, there is plenty of loom on this dial. Now the watch goes through the master 1,000 hours control, which means it is a 1,000-hour test of shock resistance, water resistance, winding efficiency, power reserve, and chronometry. And on the tourbillon watches, JLC strives for precision of plus or minus 1 second per day. And this movement, the 978, is credentialed in that regard, as a factory-adjusted caliber 978 won the Concours de Chronométrie back in 2009, and it beat a lot of mid-century specials that were brought out of mothballs to compete in the revived timing tests. So movements that were built in the 20th century to go to chronometry trials were actually put into service against JLC's production movement, and the JLC production movement from the modern era beat them all. Caliber 978 in that test was able to achieve annualized deviation of plus 47 seconds, which is extraordinary when you consider that the COSC chronometer standard is plus 6 minus 4 per 24 hours. Now the movement is automatic winding with unidirectional winding action on ceramic rotor bearings, which are unlubricated, high efficiency, and minimal maintenance. It has a 48-hour power reserve, the GMT, the tourbillon regulator, the date system, and of course, this is a free-sprung tourbillon carriage that beats away at 4 Hertz. It's adjusted in 6 positions, and it uses an overcoil hairspring to improve its chronometric qualities. The tourbillon carriage is entirely hand-finished, and the cage itself is actually made of titanium to reduce its mass. You can see the cage, the screws on the cage, as well as the bridge, are all satinated and beveled and hand-finished, and is quite civilized and nicely executed. So you should own a loop if you own this watch, and it is a 1-minute tourbillon, so it does service your seconds hand. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.